there's no guaranteed way to win on Google, but we know how to do it. We know the mechanisms. We know what good content looks like. We know what EAT looks like. We know all the things that we need to know to rank well on Google.
Right.
We do not know that for LLMs. There are a lot of theories, but I mean, if you ask it a question, you change it from an exclamation point to a question mark, you might get a totally different answer.
Welcome to What Gets Measured, a Ninja Cat podcast about marketing, performance management, metrics, and effectiveness. Because what gets measured gets managed. I'm your host, Jake Sanders. Today, we're talking about the evolving world of marketing, media, and AI-driven transformation with someone who's been at the forefront of it all. As CEO of Third Door Media, a SEMrush company, Marc Sirkin focuses on leading brands and marketing teams through the digital age with a clear commitment to driving innovation and sustainable growth. With a background in product and technology, Marc's helping agencies and brands navigate the real challenges of proving value, staying competitive, and he's here today to talk about the future of digital marketing. Marc, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
See you, man.
Nice to have you here with us. I guess I just wanted to jump in because it's the topic everybody's talking about. But you've been in the game for a while. You've seen a lot of these things come and go. A lot of tech show up, revolutionize the world, and shrink back into commodities or just tools that we use. What's the biggest shift AI is driving today? And how is it different or similar than the past?
Oh man. So that's a good question. It's a good start. Hot start. Yeah, I've seen a lot. Seen a lot. I like to say I've seen this movie before, but here's the thing, to your question about AI, not sure we've seen this movie before.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've seen incredible technologies come on the scene and unleash all sorts of, leaps in productivity and improvements in attribution and incredible content tools and, all the stuff, everything from the first version of Photoshop to, Canva or whatever.
Yeah.
But AI is I think in its own class. I'm in danger of being like too big of an AI proponent from a standpoint of like the tooling and the technology.
Right.
There's obviously some downsides to it, but I think that I think this thing is going to touch everything. I think these tools are, you've heard the saying, like it's as bad as it's going to be right now.
Yes.
And it seems to change every freaking day. Like try to keep up with the news, you can't.
Right.
So, I think this is a moment. It's a moment, and I think one of a couple of things might happen. It might truly be revolutionary, right? We might actually get one-to-one marketing, personalized tools, agents. Like the future might actually be here. Oh my God, flying cars are next.
Check it out.
It's funny. It's still making flying car jokes. Like it's not even like it's. Anyway. But the future might be here. These tools might be as powerful as we think they are, right? And from a technology standpoint, we've never seen anything like this before, obviously. But like I said, we've seen this movie before. I was talking to somebody this morning, and we were talking about I don't know if you remember Don Peppers and Martha Rogers' One-to-One Marketing. It's like a classic tome. Like it's like a classic, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't really get there. We didn't really get there. Some of us got there maybe, but like most of us didn't get there. And now you've got a situation where it's like, we went through the ERP and the CRM and the CDP revolutions.
Mm-hmm.
We had the technology, but we didn't have the right data structure, the right data model. We didn't have the right organizational model. People didn't know what to do with all this stuff. So I think like I said, like we've seen this movie before. It could be different this time. I think it might be.
Right.
We'll see. But, revolution's always around the corner, and one of the things that I'm trying to check myself on is like the hype versus the reality. What does the hype promise? How soon is that hype going to get here? And what's the reality of where we are today and how long this stuff takes? Stuff takes a long time, right? Stuff, I don't know. I can't remember the quote. I won't try to be too clever, but like there's a quote about how the future takes longer than the present or something. I don't know. It's like, stuff's going to take longer than we think it's going to take.
Right.
In some cases.
Yeah.
The question is AI different? And again, like we've been through revolutions before. Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a really good part about the data. I read somewhere that like most of the data that marketing teams, advertising teams have is left untouched. We have so much data. We have more data than we know what to do with. Is that something that aligns with your experience and feedback from industry folks?
Yeah, it is. And I might characterize it a little bit different. It's not like there is too much data, but not all of it is equal value. It's also not organized well. It's in silos. It's not connected. I understand there's lots of people who claim they can do all this with a snap of a finger or whatever. But the reality is that like organizational structures sometimes make it very difficult to share that data in ways that are useful. uh, yeah, you can put it all in a big data warehouse, but like, are you really looking at it from the right perspective across? I was on the phone with a really, really terrific guy this morning. He's got a phenomenal point of view and a platform for kind of hyper personalization, is what he called it, right? And we got in this kind of similar conversation. It's fresh in my mind, and we were talking about like personas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like at a very simple level. You're Jacob, you're Jake, you're Jacob. I'm Mark. Okay.
Hi.
But like right now on my computer, I have 3 different Chrome browsers open. One logged into SEMrush, one logged into Third Door Media, one logged into my personal browser, right? I also have my phone sitting over here. What the heck do you know? Like, I'm sure there's some voodoo magic out there, but the reality is like hyper personalization to whom? Because Mark,
Right.
me, Jake, you're not you. There's no one you. There's lots of me. I contain multitudes, as they say.
Yes,
right?
that's true. Yeah, I've
And
heard that.
so like it's just to me, it's such a fascinating, engaging concept, but it is a little conceptual. And I'm sure people will yell at me online, but like I just don't know that anybody's actually got it right completely. And is AI going to be the thing that suddenly solves it? I mean, I think one of the challenges with all the data is there's this notion that like somehow AI is so good and so revolutionary that you just point it at not just a database, but like your data. I don't even know what you mean by like your data. Okay,
Right.
like my entire Google Drive,
Sure.
all my emails in
Right.
my head. I don't like my notepad. What about my notepad? And so like you're going to point at AI at all this stuff, and then it's somehow going to magically like do something. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, look, I'm not saying it's not possible. I guess it's possible. Magic tricks happen, but like again, I think that we've got the hype of the AI today and the capabilities of AI, but the speed at which this is developing and the capabilities that are coming online are they're kind of mind blowing. And so, yeah,
Here's the question that I was thinking, and I'm sorry I'm interrupting the person that I'm interviewing.
to do it, man.
No, you said the speed. The speed is happening, and then you're saying it's going to take a while for it to catch up, which I do agree. Is that part of this frustration? Is the fact that it's already so more advanced than we can get at? Is that more of the impetus to kind of break things down and scrap over? It just kind of feels like everybody has this, like none of the old stuff is working. It has to all be brand new. Is there some old stuff that we can bring into this new challenge that might help us? I think data, that just the data mess, got to get that handled before you get to your AI. Is there some kind of like fundamental truth that people could hold on to in this moment?
I think you have to hold on to fundamental truths. I think you have to. You have to go back to guiding principles, core principles, fundamental realities. Without those, you're just chasing shiny objects, right? Like you have to know your brand, you have to know your business, you have to know your users, you have to know your employees and your team. Like you have to know there are physics to all of this stuff. Companies have, loosely, I think I read this in a book, like companies have operating systems,
Yeah.
right? And I don't mean software, but they have
The way they
software and hardware and meat operating systems.
right.
Slack is part of the operating system.
Sure. Yeah. Culture is its own system. Yeah.
It's an operating system, right? And so incentives, how people are incented in their jobs and how they align to these technologies, all matter. And that's why I think, we get these influxes and these massive changes in technology, and then it takes a while for it to be implemented. I think you can bet on it will take some time, no matter how fast the technology comes. Now, look, if we hit the singularity and all of a sudden the machines become aware, like I don't live in that land. I watch those movies and I love those movies, but I don't think that's a real thing
right.
yet.
And at that point, you probably would have to put the manual down and say, "Uh-oh."
Probably. But I do think that, to your point, I do think playbooks are broken. Or breaking, or changing, or evolving. And I think that's probably true all the time. But I think in this moment, when you unleash the capabilities of an AI as an assistant, as an agent, as a thinker, as a copywriter, as a designer, as a strategist or a consultant, all of a sudden Like I noticed that I'm getting memos from colleagues that are a little bit longer than they maybe used to have been. Now,
Right.
Jake, why do you think that is?
Well, I know from if you're writing to the C-suite, they don't want more than 2 sentences. They,
Okay.
don't waste these people's time.
Yeah, but I think that the culprit there is AI, right?
Oh, I mean,
It's like,
naturally, yeah.
right, and so I think you're seeing simultaneously like the attention economy. Like I have no time to read a 30-page
Mm.
document, and yet now I'm getting 30-page documents.
Ooh, oh,
So like these tools are in people's hands, and we're figuring. That's what I mean by like we're figuring out how you use these tools,
and one of
and
the
it's going to take some time.
and one of those things that we're figuring out, and it is taking some time, and there's a bit of back and forth. I mean, I feel like before I open my computer in the morning, I put on a neck brace because I never know what's going to happen.
Oh, like you're going to be a car crash proactively.
Or it's just sort of like, oh, we're going up, oh, we're going down.
Yeah.
But one of the
roller
things
coaster.
was the SEO, AI SEO landscape. I mean, this thing is, talk about frothy. Just what's your thoughts there? How should agencies, I mean, we're all thinking about it. How should they prepare for this convergence? And what opportunities, challenges, those kind of things are you seeing in the AI SEO go?
Yeah. So to be clear, you mentioned SEMrush. We did get acquired by SEMrush. So just in case people don't know, Third Door Media is the creators of Search Engine Land, a popularly read blog website, and Martech. But we've been writing about search for 20 years or whatever. Right? We do conferences, and this is what we do. And so we're paying very close attention to this. And a couple of years ago, we sort of like, is it going to be called GEO for generative engine optimization, or AIO, or what's it going to be called? Like, what's going to happen when these tools start to really drive behavior change? So we've been thinking about this for a couple of years, and it came online immediately. I mean, within weeks of ChatGPT first coming out, we're like, wait a minute, this could be a problem for some things.
Right.
And we're now seeing kind of, I think we're probably in the second inning. We might be still in the bottom of the first inning. I don't know. It's early. It's still early.
Right.
And there's a bunch of factors here. But what's fascinating to me, and just this week we were talking about it. We talk about it all the time, but just this week we were talking specifically about this. There's competing opinions and competing data sets here.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who are saying, consumer behavior is about to radically change. We're all going to use these tools, and no one's going to click because you're going to get the answers. And there's the zero-click stuff that Rand Fishkin likes to talk about. And
right.
That's a thing, and it's one possible future. There's competing views that sort of suggest, top of funnel is pretty much gone. Mm-hmm. Who won the World Series last year, or who traded for who, or I don't know, give me a recipe for chicken fajitas, or whatever it is. Like, I think those top of funnel things are truly gone. I do think that the bottom of the funnel, especially when you really need to validate what these things are telling you, and you really want to go look at it. In the case of B2B, I want to go check out a vendor or whatever it might be, or read somebody's blog. I think that the bottom of the funnel is probably still fairly safe for today. Mm-hmm. But what that means is that you're losing a ton of traffic at the top. You're losing, and we don't yet have the tools to truly influence the LLMs, right? Mm-hmm. There's no guaranteed way. Look, there's no guaranteed way to win on Google, but we know how to do it. We know the mechanisms. We know what good content looks like. We know what EAT looks like. We know all the things that we need to know to rank well on Google. Right. We do not know that for LLMs. There are a lot of theories, but I mean, if you ask it a question, you change it from an exclamation point to a question mark, you might get a totally different answer. Like one character can change an entire answer in LLM. So how do you optimize for phrases and misspellings and voice search? And like, I have no idea. I'm fascinated to find out.
It makes me feel like the early days of keyword stuff on Google. They were like, you know what? You might have to bid on misspellings, of your brand, or some of those early kind of algorithmic superstitions, which were proven or disproven, or so I think we're probably in that spot now. I mean, but I'm seeing it. ChatGPT is throwing referrals my way. So you're like, how'd that come from?
How'd that happen?
You know what I mean? So it is happening.
Look, it is happening. Yeah. It is happening. We don't yet have the industry around, the SEO, the quote unquote SEO industry for LLMs doesn't yet exist, but guarantee it's coming
Sure.
at some level. And so we'll see. So I think right now, you're seeing wildly divergent experiences. We're seeing some people have lots of traffic growth. We're seeing other people have lots of traffic falling. You've also got, don't forget, the Google algorithm shifts. I think their Google algorithm actually changed. I think there was a release today, actually.
Oh, good news.
Calls all day, but I think there's been something happening today. But you go back to last fall and HCU and some other things that have happened. And it's like it's an unstable environment, both in terms of content, in terms of customer journey, and certainly in terms of what AI put the power it put. So it's a really exciting time, but it's also unstable. Let's
Man,
just say.
it's y'all leave that alone. Why did you mess with it? I mean, AI overviews, everyone's like, this isn't great. And I've had to talk to my people in my network. They'll Google something and they'll look at something and they'll read the first thing. And I'm like, hold on. So we're back here. I remember 10 years ago, somebody's like, that's actually an ad. And I remember being like, people were upset. They were like, it's an ad. It's organic. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I remember when Facebook was like, we'll make it look like it's like a post, but it's an ad, you know? And you're like, oh. So it's weird because these platforms are helping make things confusing too, as they start switching deck chairs and we're all wondering how to fly the boat. I said it.
Yeah.
But we're all trying.
Just own it.
I'm just doing it. But, we're all trying to figure that out. And they're switching things around. And you're like, okay, so wait, hold on. And so it ends up being this like the chicken egg thing. Like we haven't even talked about omelets yet. Here's one of my questions that I had about you. You brought this up. Behavior, top of funnel behavior. I might go to Google and say, show me some other thing. Is the user behavior for these interfaces different too and distinct, or are they sort of the same? I mean, if I go to ChatGPT, am I thinking like a search engine, or am I thinking like I'm, is there something that you know about behavior?
I mean, I have observed behavior. I don't have data at my
then go for it.
But yeah, exactly.
Be subjective.
Just in terms. Yeah, sure, whatever. It's my opinion. What I would say, just in terms of the last conversation that we just had, was what you're describing is an algorithm-mediated world, which is what we live in today. We live in tell me where you don't encounter an algorithm on a computer screen.
Yeah, and I'll show you where
Netflix algorithm. Right. Netflix algorithm, TikTok algorithm,
DoorDash
Google algorithm. My email is an algorithm. Like it's all right. I go to the park and avoid algorithms for the moment, but like we live in an algorithm mediated world. And so what that means is someone else is deciding what we're seeing first, second, third, fourth, right? Mm-hmm. Which kind of bridges into your next question, which is, if you think back, I'm old enough to remember, like when search engines came on the scene, we didn't know how to use them.
Right.
Advanced search operators were like a mystery. And to most of us, they're still a mystery, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like site operator search, like the average people don't do that. It's an SEO nerd thing to do.
Oh man,
like,
when I first saw that, I was like, oh wait, what are you doing? Like, you can use this better.
The treasures of advanced search in Google and in Gmail, like it's unbelievable, right?
So, yeah, right.
So I think, I would say is I would go back to fundamentals, and I would also go back to like history and be informed by history. We had to learn as a society how to use Yahoo and Google, and we learned. Right. And we didn't know, Boolean operators was not like a common term in 1984.
For real.
Like now it's like, and this, put quotes on it, take quotes off. Right. We learned how to search.
I mean,
so the question you ask is a really good one.
Right.
Right. Like, it's like, well, is LLMing searching?
Oh my God, you just verbed it. You just verbed the noun, which is another famous thing that us marketers love to do. I'm going to LLM it.
I'm going to LLM it. No, it's a horrendous. That's not going to stick.
No. I think it's good. I think you should stay with it.
The point is, like, I think we're in the process of learning how to LLM it.
Yes.
Right. And I think what's interesting. Have you used voice search yet?
On ChatGPT or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And have you used it like advanced voice search?
No, but I've seen it. I'll give you
homework.
Okay,
I'll give you homework. You ready?
Right, fine.
Next time you go for a walk, right? And open it and just walk and talk. And you will have an experience that is deeply fulfilling and unsettling and interesting. It's wild, dude. It is wild. I went to go visit some friends, about an hour drive. It's like, let me turn it on and see what happens. I built an entire strategy for a project we're working on now. Took me 45 minutes. I talked to the thing. I actually ran out of credits. At some point, it's like, you're done for now, boy.
They kicked
I'm
Mark off of
tired.
ChatGPT.
Exactly. My point is that like that's not searching. That's LLMing it, right? That like
Hmm.
that's a near human level conversation with a super intelligence that like whatever I give it, it just gives it me back. Like it's
Man, you know what? And the key that I've been hitting on this AI thing is the individual is the key to the technology success, to the business success. You know, whatever you have, whatever your curiosity, your characteristic driven things, your the where are you going to take this tech? Because they give
yeah,
you, you know, I could give you a saxophone, you know, and then I could give Charlie Parker a saxophone, you
yeah.
know, and
It's
then
gonna
you're
sound
going to
different.
get, but that is the same tool. There's only 12 notes in the scale. This dude
That's
just
right.
made bebop
Yeah,
happen. But
that's right.
you think it actually needs to come down to the individual level. And I think what's interesting is Google helped you search for other things. This AI, when you're using it right in tight use cases, it can help you search inside, which don't get too attached to it. Sometimes it hallucinates. Sometimes it does these things. But I think what you're
Sure.
saying is that there's these opportunities because every time I've used AI and seen success with it, it's because I really put my whole head into it and thought, I'm
Exactly.
going to be real explicit with what I want. I want to see what this thing, the end result is. And then you work it, you get drafts, you start seeing, oh, and then you tease it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I watched Andy Crestodina use AI the other day and it blew my mind because he wasn't
Mind blowing.
using it to get something. He was using it to
Correct.
tease concepts, find
Correct.
problems, look at deeper things, and then get closer to a draft. And then he called it out endlessly. He was like, this is wrong. That's wrong. But it wasn't like, did you see that it's wrong? You know, it was
Yeah.
like, no, this thing doesn't get it. It has an amateur intelligence. So that's what AI could stand for. He had like different AI acronyms, which was just
Yeah.
so beautiful. But to see somebody really use this in an elegant way, mind blowing. And the way you just
Mind blowing.
describe it, super mind blowing. So it's
Mind
like,
blowing.
it's here. We got to work it. I think you said
Yep.
some good stuff about SEO and the behaviors that are happening. I want to get into more of the metric side of things, like proving how maybe you're using some of this tech and it's blowing your mind, but you have to prove your ROI. Marketers always have to prove the ROI between the efforts, the tech, whatever it is. Just all of the different attribution models. Things are shaking up in the agency world. SEO, content marketing. I mean, man,
Yeah.
what are you thinking? ROI or measuring the effectiveness and efficacy of these, tech strategy tactics? It used to be a bit easier. You say, "Hey, we spent this, we got this." Okay, you get the budget. Do you think ROI is changing, or how are people going to be approaching that in this new era where it's harder to see some of that impact, or is it we're just looking at the wrong spot?
I have a bit of a I'm not sure what the right word is, but I have a little bit of a problem with attribution as a concept, I guess. Not as a concept, as a practice, let me say.
Sure.
I think that and I'll like obviously I'm going to make a somewhat general statement. It doesn't apply to everything, right? I mean, there are simple use cases that like, yeah, like I had a lemonade stand, people walk by, I closed 50% of them.
Right.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
Simple. But I think, and I'll keep this in like a B2B land
Sure.
since that's
Yeah.
where I spend most of my time, right? So B2B buyer journey. And you look at the buyer journey, and we've all seen the charts. I mean, it used to be a funnel, and now it's a thing, and now it's a freaking spider web, and whatever it is. But I think humans are chaos machines. I think I think that the B2B buying process has gotten so complicated.
Mm.
I think buyers are juggling. I know, like for me personally, like me as a B2B buyer, I'm juggling like 10 different projects at once. They kind of vary in importance and budget shift from quarter to quarter. And people want to measure all this stuff and they want to know, how, like, okay, so yeah, I was on your TikTok page and I saw a TikTok, and 6 months later, I'm like, you know what? That guy on the TikTok is pretty smart. Like, how the hell are you gonna, like, honestly, how the hell are you gonna attribute that?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. And I like my again, like focus group of one, like I know that I've bought software where it was like it's between A and B. I just like B's logo and the dude who's selling it to me better. I don't know. Like they're the same. I don't know. It's all come on. I'm being overly cynical for purpose, right?
No, that's fine.
Because attribution ultimately is trying to put a scientific a spreadsheet against how humans act. I just have a fundamental like I don't know, like all models are imperfect. So if we can agree that all models are imperfect, then attribution is just fine.
Yeah.
My problem with attribution is when you don't agree with that and you go, no, it's perfect. And now we're going to make multi-million-dollar decisions or staffing decisions based on like, I don't know. I don't know. It's funny. Again, I've been on the phone kind of all day, so I had a lot of things in my head.
Yo,
But I was literally on
spill
call
it.
earlier,
Spill the tea.
and we were talking about, and Mike Pastor, who runs Martech, has an article. I think it might be out or it's coming out about sort of like CMO, CMO perspective, and like how do you? It's this question, right? This question of ROI, and it's like, and here's the thing I said to him. I'm like I'll overstate it for purpose. Let's take YouTube for example, right? Let's say that Jake, you're for Ninja Cat, right? And let's just say that you had a super popular YouTube channel, hundreds of thousands of views, but no clicks, zero. But you could see the comments. Oh, we love Ninja Cat. You guys are freaking awesome. But zero clicks. Literally not a single click in a month.
No. Yeah.
What's the ROI, bro? You want to just shut the YouTube down? I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe you should stop doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I feel like performance marketing has kind of shifted everything to this. Like, we have to measure everything to the nth degree. And it's just not real. Like, it's not real.
You said something really interesting. We have to measure it to the nth degree. No, measure it to the right degree. And I'm not saying
what's the right degree?
And I'm not saying attribution is wrong. I'm saying the way you're thinking about it is wrong. I'm not saying AI is bad. The way you're thinking and using about it is bad.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting because you can have critical, maybe, not skeptical, but critical, feedback. And people are like, you just hate us. And you're like, no, I don't like when you use things that you think are going to mean, ROI is one of them too. It's like ROI is great if you're just worried about money and spending things. But if you're worried about marketing impact and measuring that, that's what I'm saying. You can maybe, if you took much longer, like maybe even years of a measurement for things, you'd be able to shake out some real, but deep time, no one has that. What are you talking about? Things are changing. It's now. We got to go. So it's like, it's upsetting because the hype hasn't helped us, but it's given us hope that has only created more hype and then the wrong types of hype, not around the right tight metrics to measure what actually matters. You know what I mean? Anyway.
I do know what you mean. And it's infuriating. It's frustrating. And we live in an attention economy. And, some of us live in companies that go quarter to quarter. Others have different timescales. And I think the question of marketing and is there value in marketing? I don't think anybody says there's no value in marketing. I think the question is what you asked, which is what's the ROI? So if I put $1 in, am I getting $1.50 out, or am I getting 20 cents out? And what's the timescale of that investment?
The
right?
return.
That is definition of ROI. But I think the problem that we have is like, and we could go in any direction, but like, where do you invest those dollars, right? Should we really be in like how many, and this is media specific, but probably brand specific too. Like how many times have we made the mistake to build virtual land on other people's property and then get cut out, right? Build a huge Facebook following. Now you're charged for it.
All day.
LinkedIn following, they change the algorithm, right? So it's like it's become such a complex. That's what I mean by humans are complex and chaos driven. Like, I think that there's it was never really simple, but like let's just go ahead and say it's super complex today. And AI agents and bots and the rest of the stuff that's about to come online is going to make it even more chaotic. Like when you have a business persona bot that grabs all your news and summarizes it for you and summarizes your calendar and preps you for podcasts and all this stuff, like where does marketing fit in that, right? Like I think that's the future on the marketing side that's like kind of interesting to think about. And what are your moats in that situation? How do you build brand in that world? It's all going to be. This is where I think like we are faced with kind of almost an existential, like in the next couple of years, it's going to get more and more tricky. That's what I would say. It's going to be super fun, by the way, assuming we all remain employed, but that's a different story, right?
Natch.
It'll be super fun to try to figure it out. Yeah. But complexity's coming. I mean, it's
Yeah.
already here.
Yeah, no, one thing that was somebody differentiated complex from complicated, and those two things are not the same. You know, like things are complicated now, and they're going to get more complicated. Complex is some other thing. I mean, that's where your chaos machines are. You know, like that is a really complex thing. But this sort of ability to address the needs of certain people and processes, and then that ends up creating its own sort of inertia. So I think it ends up being business impact. But wait. What is this? What is that truth? You said fundamental truths. We got to hold on to them. Is if somebody is looking at that ROI thing and they saw the YouTube and this, how are they going to make the case? Is there some way you can help? I mean, the marketing audience is not going to go and say humans are chaos machines. That's
right.
what I believe.
Right.
What is and they're going to be like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But you're on the spreadsheet, like. Talk about that. You know, like just tell me, like, how can people think differently, or can they think incrementally, or brand lift, or all of these MMMs and all
That's
these
a great
different,
question.
you know.
That's a great question, and I love the distinction between complex and complicated.
Yeah.
So let's go back to those first principles, guiding principles, right? First of all, do you have them?
Ooh.
What are they? Do we value engagement, or do we not value engagement?
Ooh.
Right? Are we a bottom of the funnel brand or a top of the funnel brand? Right? Like do we know our brand? Do we know our market position? Are we a B2B software company that's an enterprise? I mean, basic. I'm talking about basic stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's our sales cycle? Does it take 18 months to close a deal, and are there 15 people involved, or is this like somebody just goes to the website, puts in a credit card, and does the thing, right? Like,
right.
And that's what I mean by like when I get overwhelmed, which happens a lot because it's a complex world, right?
Yeah.
I go back to first principles and I ask myself the question: What's fundamental here? What's going on here? Hey, newsletter subscribers are falling. You look at the page and go, well, this stinks. Like, it's confusing. What's the value prop? Maybe we should improve that. Or we're working on a project right now where we think the processing time, because we're doing so much, we're working so hard to keep bots out of our system.
Yeah.
That the registration process takes like a couple of milliseconds too long.
Oh, wow.
Well, okay, let's rearrange the stack and let's let people through, and then we'll worry about if they're bots or not. And that way their registration can happen quickly, right? So, things like site speed. So I think if you understand your audience and your mission and your brand at a fundamental level, you can start to have more sophisticated ROI conversations. So let's keep with the Jake has a million viewers on YouTube, right? Like let's do that.
I
right?
love that.
So it's like, if we don't value engagement and we don't understand that what Jake is doing on the site with his content is actually educating, informing, entertaining, and building relationships with people, then then shut him down. Right. Like, that doesn't matter. Right. And so, but I think, whether it's a Super Bowl ad or a TikTok channel, I think there's all sorts of sophisticated ways to measure things like brand lift and those kinds of things. But you have to, I think you have to start. It's going to sound so stupid. You just have to start at the start. What do we care about? And then we can decide from there. And look, marketers, like, I love a shiny object, man. Like, I love a new project or a new toy or a new tool or whatever it is. Like, I love it. And so, and what happens is that none of us are not very. I'm not. I'm not very disciplined. I'll try something new, and then like it just sort of exists now. It's like, oh, it's out there.
I think that might be like me too. Okay.
Yeah, like, okay, I better clean up my stack. Like, what are the pieces really working? I had this thought the other day that, again, like, super, super simple, right? I was like, if it's important enough for us to say yes to do something, whether it's an experiment or a project or whatever, it should be inherently important enough to remember to go look and see how it's doing. Right?
Everybody who has a dashboard for their clients is like rolling in their grave right now. Right. They're like, they don't go into the dashboard.
You never freaking look at it. And we forgot, but like, it's funny. Like, here's an example. Like, and it's just muscles, and it's just remembering. And, but look, people are busy. We live in a busy time.
Yeah.
We're doing some YouTube testing, some video testing, short form stuff. And it's like, how are we doing? Has anybody looked? Well, we're just so busy, no one looked. Oh, let's look, and then let's look and look. if the answer is we didn't look and we're not going to look because we're too busy, probably shouldn't have started in the first place.
Oh,
So I think, again, fundamentals, basics. I think
I love
even in a
that.
world of AI, it's a good moment to sort of go, let me go back to basics.
It feels, I don't apologize for that. I mean, I don't think all of the best advice that I've got on this podcast from really, really smart people ends up being the most simple stuff. It never involves advanced math, which I'm so happy for. But it ends up being look inside, know thyself. You know, it's kind of amazing. And I appreciate that because I think people will be happy to know that as all these things are changing, as all of these things are, the world is different. You know, it's like you can hold on to something, but it's up to you to define it and it's up to you to find it. And Marc, man, I gotta let you go, but I have one more question and I want you to kind of like land the plane.
All right, I'll do my best not to crash.
Of all, everybody put your seat trays up.
Seatbelts on.
And
lean forward.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have a little bag near me if it gets too turbulent. Okay. Okay. Here it is. Of all the advice and insight that you've given here today, what's your one piece of advice for digital marketers out there? I think you just gave it the first founders thing, but anyway, just what's your one piece of advice?
I'm gonna hit you with back to basics. Just get back to basics.
And you're just knowing how you make money. You know, knowing how you can, knowing where your clients are, knowing what they're saying. I mean, is that kind of the basics that you're talking about?
That's the basics. That's the fun. Like it's never too too soon or too early to sort of do a self audit, right? Like again, like if you look at your website, you look at your experience from the eyes of a consumer, a new consumer, and ask yourself, like, is this working? Do we like this? Is this good? Like, and I think by the way, here's a hot tip. I'm doing this more with my team, and I don't know if they like it or not, but like, well, what do you think? Like, hey, thanks for showing me that draft, that mock-up. I'm not making a comment. What do you think, Jake? Is it good enough? Is this your best work? It's shocking. It's shocking the answers you get back.
I just got scared. I just got scared a little bit. You're like,
I hope my team doesn't watch this.
Oh no. No. That happened the other day in a meeting. Someone was like, I told them about an exciting project. They were like, well, how could it apply to us? And I was like, I did not think past this. You know, you're like,
yeah, look, man, we're all overwhelmed, right? We're all super busy. We all are subject to the attention economy. Right. We're getting bombarded. We have bosses who want stuff at all hours. We've got freaking Slack binging us, text binging us. Like, getting back to basics is the only thing I can think of as a remedy to this. And then book recommendation, because I love reading. Essentialism. Read it. I've read it 4 times, 5 times. I still haven't fully grokked all of it, but like, you focus on the things that matter and you don't even think about the things that don't. The difference in the high performers and the middle and low performers is they figure out the difference.
Well, they know what to ignore. It isn't it. Yeah. I mean, that strategy is knowing what you're not going to do, not what you're going to do.
That's right. Because you can do anything.
Yeah. Right. The ceiling's the limit. Hey, you're amazing. People want to connect with you, Marc. Amazing. How can they connect online and get in touch with you?
LinkedIn's probably, obviously you can visit Third Door Media, you can visit Search Engine Land. Hopefully you'll sign up for a newsletter. martech.org is a great site. Check out Semrush Software. It's awesome stuff. But if you want to connect with me, it's LinkedIn.
Cheese or chocolate?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Cheese or chocolate?
Chocolate.
You're thinking really hard.
I love cheese, but like, come on. Let's go chocolate.
Audience, he was thinking long. Real book or Kindle?
Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah. You didn't expect me to ask the tough ones.
That's a tough one. The answer is both. I do mix because I like to read at night. And so in bed, it's Kindle. But when I go on vacation, it's a real book all the way, baby. 100% paper.
My man.
Love it.
Ooh. Chips or crackers?
I'll go North Carolina style. Chips if I've got pimento cheese. Crackers if I've got pimento cheese. Sure. Otherwise, chips.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Get that pimento.
Yeah.
Oh, this is kind of basic. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. And a lot of it.
What a question. Hard rock or smooth jazz?
Hard rock.
You don't want to say sorry to the soft jazz smooth.
I mean,
No.
to each his own. I don't dislike the jazz. I need some. I do Metallica when I'm alone and my wife's gone. I do a little Metallica in the morning, and it's what you need.
You got to
That
crank
and
it
a
up.
giant cup of coffee.
I just love it. Just the heart is racing. You gotta enter Sandman.
It's like a defibrillator to get the day started.
Absolutely. Oh, so this is very interesting. To close this out, I'm going to make you pick favorites here. Chaka Khan or Whitney Houston?
You're a music guy. That's I knew that about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chaka Khan or Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston had a house in my wife's hometown in New Jersey with a heated driveway. And you would drive by and be like, that's Whitney Houston's house with a heated driveway.
Where there's no ice.
So no ice. There's no ice. When you're Whitney Houston, there's no ice.
Cool.
You drive right in, the gates open, you go right in. I'll go Whitney Houston.
Yeah, classic. But
Classic
Chaka's
choice.
like even more classic?
I mean,
I'm not saying there was a right
She's-
answer, but I think
no, there's no right. There's no right answers to any of these things. There's just personal preference. It's all good.
so. We'll look
Like
at
attribution.
We'll look. I was just about to bring up attribution. I'm going to look at the way he brought it back to it. Say, actually, he took credit for. Nah, man, that's it. We did it.
What Gets Measured is a Ninja Cat podcast. Please rate and review the show wherever you find your podcasts. Share this episode on social and visit us on the web at ninjacat.io.